Thursday night, though, to be with us, to be with me, and to be also with your colleagues. When Sunny asked me to speak to you tonight, she said, well, I got a couple different thoughts, but piano and something, she kept using the word magic. Because that's one of my favorite ones in our juniors, and I know everybody is gone through me. Thank you, Matthew. Are used to me saying, magic, 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 because it is something challenging to keep your students engaged all by itself. And you know what? There's a very few people that the music itself will do it. Maybe it was you, though. Okay, the people who were lived and breathed for music, chorus. I couldn't wait to get to chorus and whatever. But there's the other ones that you really need to dress it up just a little bit. And a piano is an ideal way of doing that. Okay, so I appreciate that she threw the word magic in them, and I hope I take it the right way. She also said that she invited some MTNA people and had there. Wave at me if you're coming here for as those reps. And since I know everybody here except this young lady, am I right? Okay, all right. See, again, it's forgive me if I'm going. Amanda, got it. And Matthew and Juliana. Thank you. Howdy. Sorry. So how about this? As you know, it's okay. This is not a lecture series. This is a hopefully comfortable way of me encouraging you to use this thing to its optimum. So when she said about MTNA and ACDA, those are not warring factions. I hope that you feel that way. But it also represents a different view, I think, to that. The MTNA people are, I think, all piano majors? This is a question. I should have done my homework on that.
I think this year we got people, came to at least our interest meeting who were not piano majors. Correct. It's mostly a piano-dominated kind of.
Okay, and ACDA might be perhaps considered the opposite, am I correct?
Yeah.
A little bit more vocally dominated. So I wanted this tonight to be a talking head between two things, an accompanist and the director. Okay? Now, the piano, if I'm going to take the accompanist first. How many of you have enough chops that you have done some accompanying in some way, shape, or form? Lots. Okay? Not everybody, and that's fine. Right? So how about this? We're going to, and I have also. I love accompanying. I've met some incredible conductors through that art, and is one of the things that you like best about accompanying, the people who have. And I think since she said that there are snacks there, you feel free to. As I said, this is pretty comfortable in here, and if you would like to go back and get a bag of something or other or whatever, please feel free to. Okay? What do you like about accompanying?
Like in a choral setting specifically?
Please.
That's a really good question.
Thank you.
I guess I love, I love sometimes being removed from the group and be able to hear the sound, not in the group, it's very different.
Good, I like that one.
Yeah.
Something else then? Yeah, sure.
I mean, I'm not a pianist primarily, but I like to play the piano, and so it's nice to have an opportunity to play with people where it's not like someone assigned you this section of this piece and you need to practice it and learn it and present it at your next lesson.
Sure. And that's why I put it that way, because you're not a piano major, but you have enough chops to do some accompanying, and that is fantastic. Do you learn something about the other part of the world by sitting at? Okay, yeah, I just went that. Anthony, I'm sorry, sure.
Well, I just do like the little things for like a BJM and stuff, but it's just really cool. Well, kind of like what Allie was saying, but to like sit back and hear it, but also to see the children's faces when they see you playing a piano and they're like, "You're so magical."
Yeah. You're so good, and you're going, "No, I'm not."
Yeah.
but yes, yeah, and I like that. Did you want to put one in,
I
Matthew?
was saying it kind of ties along with like what we're like here for as education majors, because like we like giving something or like putting ourselves out there for our students, and I think accompanying is a way. It's not like solo piano where you're performing. It's not you giving them or something of that sort. It's not like I'm playing like a hide and sonata by myself and
Right.
just chilling.
Very nice. So, other people what do you like about accompanying? And if you haven't, please don't worry that, that it's not something that, that you have to leave or anything like that. Marcy, what do you like about it?
I love accompanying because of the fact that I get to work with other people, and I'm bringing my own ideas to it, but I'm playing off of theirs, and it makes my ears so much stronger just listening to their
Good,
ideas.
good. Now, both Allie and Marcy have accompanied for me, right, for the summer spy,
Yeah.
okay? I don't think anybody else has gone through that inside there. So, how different is it to work, this is the last question before we, some of this other stuff that I bring to you. How different are the different, this is a silly question, but I'm gonna go for it anyway. What do you notice about working with different conductors?
Well, I think I would say one, the kind of pianistic and musical standards you're held to, I think really vary, especially if your conductor has a strong piano background or not. I think they, can be much more specific or not.
Right.
What they want you to do.
Right? Beside that, sure. And there's a lot to learn from that for every different conductor. Sure. What do you think?
Well, what I thought was really interesting when I played for lab school was because I was working with Sam and Matt, but they were learning how to teach and conduct while I was learning how to play for them. So, I learned so much about teaching from accompanying because I was like, oh, the kids don't know where they are. Oh, here, let's give them some melody. Or I don't know where they are. I better not, and then when I would be in conducting class, I would be remembering my experience at the piano to keep track of that for myself. So it was interesting.
This article that I brought, and tonight is not all about accompanying, but I wanted to take a look at that aspect of it also. This is unabashedly all taken from what a good accompanist needs to know. Okay? Now, I think that I had given that to Dr. Brewer / Dr. Martin for Monday. This is a question mark. But I had given it, and I love this one to come out. First of all, even if you just remember this first paragraph, a good accompanist is a choir's director's dream come true. At one time, student pianists were plentiful, but they have become rarer today. And again, I did a lot more sitting here than in my chorus in high school than singing. While many student pianists may be capable of reading music, not all can be good accompanists. Accompanying is an art of its own that requires some unique capabilities. In this article, the author presents a list detailing essential, etc. And here are the responsibilities. This article, and if you want the entire article, I'd be happy to give it to you, because it's to help you teach your young accompanists. Okay? I'm looking at you now as a high school teacher, and you are going to help teach one of your students to be an accompanist. Okay? And if there's anybody in here that doesn't know the difference between a piano player and an accompanist, could you let me know that right now? You have one of, and I hope this is not anything, because I love all of our piano faculty dearly, but somebody on this faculty that is renowned for her and accompanying. And if you wanted to know, just follow Dr. Brewer around and listen to her chops. She accompanies. She did a lot of that, nonetheless, so I'm proud of them all. But so how about this? We're going to go very fast. If you say, hold it, I don't think I understand that. I'm talking not only to you as an accompanist, but you teaching your young students. So would you start, and we're just going to go 1, 2, 3. Just read this one through, these little things, and I have the full paragraph that explains it. So what should those young accompanists do? Now, Tito was saying, I'm sorry, Brandon. Do you go by Brandon more and more though? Okay, it's Tito. That when he went for your student teaching, you were given X amount of pieces, and only 1 week to work them up, pretty much.
Even just 2 weeks ago, I got a chunk of music in the mail. I'm like, all right, got a week to learn it before I go and sub. Let's go.
Let's go.
And then 2 days before my the subbing day, the teacher calls like, all right, so we need to look at this piece. I just worked like past 2 days on that one.
And we're gonna do something different. It's hard, but we're gonna say, these are the things that I'm gonna recommend to you, and also you to your young students. Go down, and if you can stop me if you go, hold on, I don't understand what that means.
Number 1, get the music from the director as soon as possible.
Okay, you need practice time, don't you?
Oh yeah.
Okay, there are times, now, turn off the video camera. Do any of you play better sight reading in a pinch than you do after you practiced it for a while? Sometimes.
I'm gonna say honestly
Yes.
sometimes.
Yes. Do you know the musical The Producers?
Yes.
I was hired to sight read that show up to tempo. Yeah, yeah, and my God, but and at the end it was, oh, I can't believe you did. It was a lot of fun, especially some of those songs. But the chance to sight read on that level of and that speed, don't put yourself or your kids in that position unless you know that they're ready for it. So get good music. Yeah. What's the next one, Ms. Cole?
Number 2, number the measures.
Number the measures. Okay, ready? We're gonna start at measure 36 and go, crap, 26, 27. Right? And I have done that, and you can get these nasty measures. Okay, nasty looks. What else?
3, get to know your music well. Practice, practice, practice.
Yeah. And what? Now she's talking about the accompaniment. Okay? The accompaniment of something. But keep that practice in your mind as you go into, there's a couple ones later on. Okay? Next.
All right, number 4, pinpoint difficult passages and work hard on them.
Now remember, you're talking to 10th graders at this time. Go ahead.
Number 5, communicate with the director about the music.
Okay. I'm not sure exactly what you mean there, or how do you want this. So don't encourage them to talk to you, please, as I would with you.
If turning pages is a problem, then make copies of the music and spread the pages out on the piano.
That can be a problem though. Do you ever have one of these pieces that are just, it's like a piano roll, and you're doing this, and you flow another thing and that, and then comes the terror of the page turner. The page turner, not taking page turning on time, et cetera, et cetera. But you gotta do what you gotta do. So these are more issues that sometimes you and I think about as you get working with your little ones. Here it is.
Work on playing the different voice parts.
Yeah, okay, please. Now, does this take you back to proficiencies? I'm sorry?
Or getting ready.
Or getting ready for them? Yes! On Monday, is anybody coming to that thing on Monday? Inside there?
Is that
What's that?
you wanted me to form?
Oh, no, you're gonna speak about that,
Yeah.
and then you're gonna have to go down to my rehearsal inside there. But yes, the proficiencies are not easy, and they're gonna be a little different this year. I'll just leave that in mind. Okay, next. Just keep going, we'll go fast.
8, work on playing multiple parts at the same time.
Yes! Next.
9, be ready to work
No
hard.
kidding. And
Number 10, keep one eye on the director at all times.
and that's, you say, I can't. I'm looking at this music. I don't have time to look at you. You'd be amazed what you can see peripherally, especially somebody as big as me. So, it's just keep your kind of, it's terrible when they stop and you're keeping playing, it's just, next.
11, get to know the director's style and anticipate what he or she will need.
Yeah. Marcy, did you have to do that this past summer for me?
Yes.
Yeah. However you would describe my style, or however I am not the same as Dr. Galvan, I'm not the same as, fill in the blank as anybody like that. What would be one thing that you had to learn that I needed? And if, Allie, if you want to go for that too, since you both accompanied me.
I barely remember at this point.
So I was really memorable in her mind. Say something or else you're going to get something even worse than that.
I would just say, so this is a summer piano camp, and a lot of the students have never sung before, so we had to learn a good deal of music in just a short amount of time. So being able to work quickly and understand exactly where you were in the music and whether you wanted the starting pitches or not, just understanding where you were and what you wanted.
Yeah.
Oh, I could
So
say.
we could move quickly.
Go ahead.
I think with you being ready to switch between the parts and the accompaniment, like at any moment.
Right. Okay, sure. Whatever is needed, what my ears hear at that moment, And actually, one of the best things that you can start to do is to learn and almost anticipating. I loved being, as I was growing up as an accompanist, and still am, every time I work with a new conductor, I almost love to say, if I wonder if I can almost say, play what they're gonna need before they tell me to need it. Okay? Sometimes I'm wrong and I feel like an idiot, but sometimes, as soon as that, or I know exactly where they want to go back to, or which part needed the part. So and your little ones are not gonna be able to do that quite yet. But boy, if you get someone that can do that, that is a great thing. Knowing an accompanist in a high school is very rare. Okay, so all of you who are ed majors, or even when you're at your own studio, are you expected to play Gretchen at the spinning wheel? Probably not. They're going to probably get their own, hire an accompanist at that time. Oh, that was the other thing. Oh, sorry. Even though I had played it before. I was walking around. You know what NISMA is? I was at a solo festival, and I was there playing for some of my students. One of my friends comes from actually, she taught in Moravia. She goes, I can't play this. Can you come play it? So, sight reading it for an all-state audition, but I can't take too much credit because I already knew that piece. But nonetheless, it's amazing what you might be asked to do. Keep a pencil handy, she would say. I bet you know why. If you make a mistake, for one thing, for God's sakes, would you mark the sharp? Yeah, or anything else that's told to that. And, Chris, I love this one.
Don't agree to accompany unless you really want to.
Tell your kids that. Please don't make your problem their problem. Does that make sense? You need an accompanist, very true, okay? And sometimes you won't get one more than one day before the concert or whatever. But don't strong arm a little one in that unless they are willing to. And if so, then you're gonna have to be willing to make sure that you work with that person. So they are truly an asset to you. And then what are some of the things that you have to tell them, or maybe you're gonna say, let's leave that chord out, or maybe that low, whatever. And so you're gonna show them how to make things a little bit easier. The accompanying part of tonight, though, is just a shortened form for us to get into where I love to do, which is rehearsal from behind the piano. I was very, very lucky to have somebody play for me maybe one time before the concert. So all the other rehearsals of all my times, and when you will be doing it as a student teacher. And I will be making sure, because I tell that more and more to the cooperating teachers, they need to do their own. I know they'll be willing to sit there for you, but I say, no, try that. Matthew, I asked you to come to Mondays. He just finished student teaching, and one of the first things that he said to me, take the next 30 seconds and give me a commercial about how important.
Yeah, my cooperating teacher gets a lot of student teachers, and from outside of Ithaca College, she said one of the biggest things that she noticed was our piano skills were above average compared to most people, and she's noticed that IC students have a lot of great piano chops. And so things that I was doing, there were times where I would have to sight read, playing 4 parts at once in the heat of the moment to maybe for a sight reading exercise or for their actual piece. And I know I had about a week or 2 to actually prepare any accompaniment. So you sit down in the practice room and do all the things that you think is kind of pretty bogus when you're in piano and keyboarding, but it helped so much. And you always go back to if you can't play it, play bass and soprano or something like that. All those things just kind of came back to me, and I didn't really think that I would actually need them until I was standing in front of a chorus, and especially teaching from behind the piano. You don't really do that a lot at the lab school, just because you have the benefit of having people accompany you. But when you're out there in the real world, as they like to say, you're doing almost everything by yourself. You have to be able to play parts, or even if you can't play 2 parts at a time, maybe have them sing, and you play the part that's going against theirs. You have to be creative and all that. And coming from IC, being able to practice piano as much as I did, and being able to work with Dr. Burr specifically with my keyboarding, I felt really prepared, and I was above what they had seen. But I recognize that a lot of the people in our class and the classes below us, our piano's always just been something that's kind of been you kind of let it take a back seat. And I know you said this really well in reference to our proficiency exams. If you treat it like it's a dentist appointment, and if you brush your teeth like 10 times before your dentist appointment, it's not the same as if you're just continuously like flossing and stuff. So if you practice like for like 6 hours before your piano proficiency exam and you ace it, but like sure you passed, but have you really gotten the benefits of practicing all the time? So just that's probably what I'll actually end up saying on Monday.
That's fine, and certainly I can't say it any better because you know I was a piano major, and sometimes, and this is some of this other stuff, I piano major, organ, keyboard, other music ed piano majors in here. Oh, that's right, Sunny and Amanda. Okay, I have to tell you to not over piano them. You're going to sometimes use this as a crutch, and therefore you're going to hobble your kids, and that's something that I did too much of. I used it too much. Okay, so it's.
I have that issue. One of the biggest things I have student teaching is that there's a really fine balance between accompanying your students and teaching, and a lot of the time I was trapped behind the piano, and I was afraid to step foot around and do that. But that you'll learn that when you're teaching, but as opposed to when you're actually like figuring out what you're going to be, what can I do with my hands at this instrument now to get the best result out of them? And so that's a fine science that you're going to have to figure out. And when you have the tools from practicing piano enough, you'll be able
We
to
do it in
figure
secondary methods too. I mean, you've got to get up and you've got to rehearse that part, and you do all your own piano work. And this one I put as a PowerPoint together. Did I not give it enough, or I just? And when I realized about 2 hours ago that I was going to be speaking in the green room, which does not have a big, I can't show a PowerPoint for that. I just put these very quickly up, and I simply call it rehearsing from behind the piano. Thank you too. All right. First of all, most high school piano choral rooms don't have a grand in it. Okay? Some may, and please understand there's going to be an exception to every rule. Some have a district accompanist. Oh, that's so nice. But then that's, and I'll just think that that's very nice if you can have that. Some have a grand, and some, however, have, there's not one in here, but the good old upright that you feel like you're a little, a little groundhog behind, inside there. What is the very first thing that you might not realize that you're using the piano for? It's a bad question. Can I just leave it at that though?
It's almost like you have like this barrier between the two.
You
of
got
so
it.
like if something's wrong, you have something there to protect.
That's right. Yeah, you're luck. You know, no, they're not throwing things at you. But I'm safe back here. I call that the big wooden fig leaf. Sorry there, and you feel. So what is one of the things that I will, and again, especially to my piano majors who feel so good about being behind here. You know that? Okay? What do you have to do? Get out from behind the piano. Get out. Okay? And as you said, use it for what it can and do, and then get out, because I know that do you know what I mean when I say I hobble my student? What does that term mean? Marcy, you can.
Well, when I was in high school, I was student teaching a 5th and 6th grade choir, and that was the very first thing the conductor said to me. He said, "Watch out, because you're going to use it as a crutch because you're a pianist."
Right.
So he said he doesn't stand behind the piano, and he actually doesn't usually play any of the accompaniment for his students until maybe 2 days before the concert, so that they're learning to listen to each other and the other voice parts before they're relying just on the accompaniment.
Okay. Now, I love it because you have so many different ideas. I would have a conversation. I must argue with that person 2 days before is a little bit short, but you know that's maybe just my opinion about that. But you're right. So what does the word hobble mean? Like when you hobble an animal? Do you know what I mean? It's actually, yeah.
Yeah, it's like they're too reliant on you.
Right, and you're actually
Playing them
tying them
what they
together
need.
so that,
Yeah.
yes, so they can't do it without you doing
Right.
that. So be careful of this wooden fig leaf. Okay, all right. We're going to go through these, and the first thing, and again, let's talk about it rather than me just say, here, learn this, and there's gonna be a test. Theories, your BFF. Okay, you know what BFF means, don't you? Okay, what I want you to think about is, what about X? Let's take a look at a piece of music. And let's use that tonight for questions, and this is one of the ones I have used in SPY, Summer Piano Institute. I can't remember if it's this year or last.
Is it Oye La Musica?
Oh, yeah, La Musica.
Yeah, but, yeah.
You played it, Marcy?
Yep.
Good. Okay. Unfortunately, can't let you keep this, because it is SPY's music, and I will, some year again, use it. Marcy, says style right on the top here.
That would be
your
my
copy?
That would be my copy. Yep.
Whoop. Did you get a copy of this? Give me a copy, copy. Everybody have one? Okay, probably the best way to just start this all out is to sing it. Ready? Now you've got cookie crumbs in your mouth and I'm asking you to sing. You'll be fine. Knowing, of course, that until you know a piece of music, you really can't talk about its theory or what you want to teach or anything else about it. So, you do not need to sit next to somebody of your own voice part. Let's just sing it. Ready? Or should we have Marcy play? Or, it's not hard. She could do that. How about this? Let me, because I'm going to do a combination of parts too. Okay, so I might have to call you up later. Okay, ready? What do you notice about my accompaniment so far? It's not exactly, okay? Now, what?
That's how I play.
That's how I play. And I would make no apologies for that. Do I do that when I play Brahms? No, I do not. Okay? What is more important at this point? What's more important that the accompanist sets up?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Good. No, that's okay. That's all right. I took off my glasses. I don't know who's talking to me.
Yeah, and this one's definitely like a really energetic.
Right. So it's the energetic, but it's also, and then you're pulling out the style of what culture kind of would this be? Now, this is not a cultural piece. This is J. Althouse, okay, writing in the style of fill in the blank. Latin, yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's do it again. And I will be doing an amalgam of parts and sing. We're going to do it up to tempo. If you're going to make a mistake, make it a corker. Okay? So you, all right?
Everywhere.
I can't say I played every note correctly. But why, what is, if that was the very first thing that, okay, I'm teaching my high school, I pass out the music, we do that, okay? Okay, we take no prisoners, we don't stop, oh, hang on guys, you missed this, blah, blah, blah. Okay, point A to point Z. What does that allow? What does that, how does the students, what do they have now? Give me a couple things.
They've experienced the song close to what it's going to be.
Okay, you can either add to it or say it in your own words. I just would like everybody to feel that they have something good to offer here. And you guys do, just.
They've already
by all means.
experienced like the main, like motives of the song.
Okay.
We've sung them many times, so it's repetitive.
Okay, mm-hmm.
They have an idea of what the whole is.
Okay, pretty good thing, that whole part, whole thing, right? Yeah. Okay, now we start working, Sunny.
Even if they didn't sing everything right, they got through the whole song, so they feel successful already.
Okay, okay. They know what to expect. They know what you would like. Thank you for coming too. They know what you have at least in mind for them. Now, here's the hard part. If you can't play, and this takes you right back to secondary methods, all right? If you can't play that like that, the very first time that we meet something, I would like them to have it in the best way that you possibly can. A lot of times, I will say, and how do that happen in secondary methods? Well, somebody says, play a recording of it. Okay, is that recorded? Probably.
Not very well.
Not very.
I mean, like,
maybe.
it's probably some,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
choir on
okay, yeah, check on
like
YouTube,
somebody's
you'd be amazed what's
fiddle
there,
for
right?
her, yeah.
Okay, but why, what's more potent than if I would have done that versus here and played it on YouTube? What's the difference? Talk, you don't have to raise your hand or nothing in here, just talk.
I mean, they got to have like an authentic experience with the music rather than just hearing it.
Okay.
And they
Well, we could, okay, I'm gonna play devil's advocate. Oh, we could have sung with them.
I mean, they also had to, even if they can't sight read necessarily, they had to look at what was on the page.
Okay.
Because there was no previous, like, here's how it goes.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, granted that they're actually gonna respect everything you're doing and whatnot and listen and behave. With the YouTube video, they can it may be easier for them to goof off and kind of just go into space.
Are they so used to it? Have they become so, and I don't mean to lump them all together, but so used to just watching and hearing, right? Okay. This is a little bit more hard to ignore.
Yeah, you gotta be
Okay.
involved.
Right. And I'm not going to go into how to start by teaching a song and et cetera like that. But my main thing is the first time we hear this, experience it any way you want to. If you want to just listen to it and suck it in there that way. If you want to try your part, try anything like that. Just come along for the ride. For those of you who like to cook, bake, or whatever, it's not bad to see a picture in the magazine. Oh, I want to make that. What would be a lot better?
Taking a bite of it.
Can you imagine someday we're going to have magazines, we're going to lick and go, oh, I don't want to make that. Okay? So, giving them the chance. So here we go. Here is your theories, your BFF. All right. You've snuffed through it. Of course, through it. What about X? Now, what about anything about that you're going to want to teach in this piece? Marcy's already paging through it. Will make it easier to teach because of the piano. Easier to remember and more musical. What will you, this piano, I'm not saying that it's going to, I want you to teach everything from that. Please don't go down that road. But what is something about that piece that the piano could do it much better than me singing it? Singing each part separately. What do you think?
Like the fiery rhythmic aspect.
Okay, all right. Now, how, is there any way that we could have captured that other than the piano? I mean, live inside there. Go ahead.
Moving to it.
Okay, we can start to move to it as well. So, having to that. Now, Would you do that at the first time that they heard that?
Never.
No. Now we start working on it. Now do they know the moving to it? Okay? Sure, it's not there. But I can't think of any other way except to hire a little orchestra and real congas and everything else to keep that going. That's the best that we could give them that shape. So what about other than, okay, so we've got style and tempo. What is there in there that you would also be able to teach them about in music? And by the way, the next frame says, slide, elements. You could teach them something about melody, harmony, rhythm, form, pitch, timbre, expression, and maybe other things that you want to go to. But what would you pick that the piano, that would be able to teach, to help you teach? What do you think?
Parallel motion.
Do we care about parallel motion? Why?
Well, it could lead to them being able to understand chords and like how that works. Plus, it helps them know their parts.
Where's
better.
parallel?
What?
Where's some parallel?
Right at the beginning of it, 9.
Okay, good, all right. So how, I can't teach parallel motion by my one voice, okay? Now, if you can't play parallel thirds. Well, remember the T is natural. Maybe you could do, sing, sing one and play the other. You do that in theory now, don't you? Sing and play? I don't really know exactly what that looks like. What do you have to do when you, for a theory exam, sing and play? I just heard about it. You do it, don't you?
Yeah, it depends on like what level and who you have. And all
So you have
that
to
stuff.
sing something and play something else,
Yeah.
right?
Like I remember singing forward to sing the right hand of Bartok's diminished fifth and play the left hand.
That's interesting.
That was painful.
That was painful, huh? What else could you teach? Because you can, please don't say, and unless you play it just like me, it doesn't count. Wrong. One of the nicest things, if you say, well, then how am I going to show them that? Then maybe that's when you say to a friend, hi, can you please GarageBand it and send me the link to it? Okay? You have something other than somebody else from East nowhere, Nebraska, singing it on YouTube. You've got that music for you, okay? And there's nobody you're watching at. So what else that could we really teach about that the piano is going to do it and maybe do it much easier for you?
This might not be related to this piece specifically, but there'll probably be spots. But I know when I was in my senior student teaching, there are some parts where the women were in 3 parts and they had really hard moving patterns, and I've tried many times to just isolate them one by one and put them together, and I played all the parts, like threesies, and they still couldn't
You'll
get
get
it.
into those phrases.
And so what my co-op had me do was they ran it, and instead of I just outlined the harmonies
Ha!
in the piano so that they could hear what was underneath them, and
Do
they
you have to do
found
something like that in proficiencies?
Mhm.
Okay.
I'm-
Play a melody and with the
Oh,
simple
yeah,
chord accompaniment?
yeah.
Okay.
And so they
That's
they
good.
could find it like that because they weren't thinking about that part individually. They were listening what was going on around them.
Good.
So that's something that you could only do that with a piano.
Very good. Now, if you can't play quite the way as Marcy played it, which was very beautifully on the concert, you can do this. Okay? F minor, C major. All right? And if you say, I'd have to practice that, you have my permission. Okay? But you need them to when you sing it, when they rehearse it, you can't say, well, we'll put the style on it 2 days before the concert. Okay? No. That has got to be baked into it. I hear the rhythm of fun in music. And you should be, again, make sure that what you're doing is always as close as you can to how it's going to ultimately feel. Is there anything else you would do? How would you teach about that rhythm? What about this rhythm in any place of this place, in this song, is that you can hook that together with harmony? I don't want to ask something and lead you into an answer. But if you have an answer to that, is there anything that the piano can really help you with more than just a voice? That's your modeling. You have your voice, or your body, and then ask them to do it, okay, or the piano itself. Okay, what are you gonna say, Sunny?
Well, it's really easy to feel the downbeat when you're playing the accompaniment, especially because of the harmonic changes. So you can teach about the pickups and how they're in unison and then going into harmony or downbeat. And so I don't know, it's just kind of structured that way, so it would be easier to hear with the piano.
Would you say that this is chock full of syncopation? Okay, and using it, I mean, how you would teach that, you could use it. It can do your a lot of things so much quicker rather than sometimes words leave us.
As you can see, if you're looking at measure 8, you could like count that whole measure and teach that pickup. You can be like, I hear the rhythm of life in music, or you can play the accompaniment, and they'll find that a lot faster. So it's kind of killing two birds with one stone.
Okay, and there are times that I'm going to ask you to do exactly that. I feel the rhythm of life. Okay, so I make sure that I'm not always giving you the answers from here. Okay, so please don't feel like I'm saying that the only way that I want you to give them everything. But what if you can give them the style, that whole of the recipe, that was a little pretty good, you know what I mean? And then they're more willing to work on it than, okay, let's just start. Okay, ready? Okay, they don't know where they're going to. Okay, because I do have one more thing to work with you then. Silly, well, because I love to be silly too. The next slide was, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? What's that old joke? Practice, man, practice. Okay. You have to practice standing up. I don't mean Yeah, I know everybody stands up. I'm good at this. You have to practice the piano standing up, okay? Why? Why do we care about, how about some of my, oh man, I'll take a quiet person.
We were talking about the upright, how I was just dealing with this today. Because
Where are you?
I'm the upright where my
Right.
my eye level's like
Oh, that's one of those.
Yeah.
But hold on, where were you doing that?
in the kindergarten room.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
kindergarten room, and I was trying to keep my eye contact with the teacher for when he wanted to start, and sometimes we weren't always
Right.
on the same page.
Okay. What else? Why else should you practice playing the piano standing up? What's the advantage of standing up? No, go ahead. It's all right. You can go in a different way. That's all right.
It might be a little tricky, like with pedaling or something.
It is. Okay. Now let me show you something. It took me about 2-3 years of I graduated from Eastman, and 3 months later I got my first. I was in high school choral room. Boom. Young. Didn't realize that. Okay, and it was an upright. Okay, it was. And this was my posture for I don't know how many hours a day. Okay, and I started to hurt that and back, and I didn't know why. And I hadn't gone to the doctor. They couldn't figure out why. What was going on? This. Okay, is a rough thing. The next thing to do is that you don't need the pedal quite as much as you think you do. Okay, pianists would go, oh no, that's not true. Yes, it is true. Stop it, just let it go. I mean, I can. Okay, if that's what I do not need. Okay, so don't feel like you've got to do that. Any other point to that? No, that's a good point. Yeah.
Classroom management.
That's where I was going first.
Yeah, I mean, if you're behind the upright and you sit down, you just lost the entire room.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's true.
Okay. It is amazing. No matter how bad you think that you had, think of some of the people that were in chorus with you back in high school. Okay. And they didn't have texts usually. They didn't have okay. So you sitting down gives them permission to go, because this is how you do not want to be. May I show you? Whether it's upright, grand, or anything like this. Okay, everybody's with me? Good, singing, okay. Just a second. You laugh. Yeah, okay. Standing up with head out of music. Okay. How well do you have to know it to get your head out of music? You're well. Okay. What else other than behavior management? It's kind of like drummers. God, amazing what drummers in the back of a band can find to do when you're not watching them, okay? But, so I always think of basses in the back row. But what else besides classroom management? I gotta make sure. Why do you need to keep your head out of the music? Now, I've heard a lot. I love some of my oldies are feeling very comfortable with this, and I love that. Give me one thing, Miss Kovala. Why do you think? What should I be watching for? Other than people being jerks back there with text.
I mean, in terms of like them singing well.
Yes.
Technique, I don't know, right notes, right tone, right,
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got 80 people in front of you. That's the chance. It's going to be hard enough when you're like this, and you know who the people are that you're going to miss the most. People sitting right in front of you. So they're because you're doing this, and the people in front of you are going to kind of know that. And so add that to the fact that you've got your head in the music. Okay, parts. You've got to be able to play parts ones. I call them twosies, which is a silly way because I grew up with jacks. Did you ever play jacks when you were a kid? You spread out these little things that look like, I don't know, jacks. They look like jacks, son of a gun. And the ball, and you throw it and it bounces. And when you're working on twosies, because you have this jack spread all over there, you take the ball and it bounces while it's still in the air. You've got to grab two and catch it. So you've got to do twosies as much as you can. Then you do threesies while it's there, and of course you try to do it real hard, so we've got to end, but threes, 1, 2, 3, got it. So your ability to play onesies and twosies, threesies, whatever is needed, whatever parts, whatever combination is needed, and it takes practice, it really does. It's hard enough with this kind of closed score, okay? Because what happens if I say, on this page, page 4. And in the street I hear music around measure 25. Okay, would you please play the bass and the alto? And you go, just a second. Because the basses and the altos need help, right? Okay. What your eyes had to do to eliminate the tenor in the middle, etc. And then what about open score? Have you practiced open score reading? You feel like you're going to go like this. Okay. And then try a double choir sometime. Yeah, with a 4 up here and 4 down there, and so you'll work up to that. But please, if anything, and I said to myself as I drove here, don't get. But that's hard for me, Matthew. But. But the fact is, and the scary fact is, we've got a couple people out now that their co-ops are just very disappointed, I'll put it in a nice way, that they're not even practicing, they're not even trying piano-wise. And it's so, if you come out of this room knowing anything, please, unless you play as beautifully, and I'm just going to and I don't know everybody else's chops, but as beautifully as I know some people in here play, and that confidently, but I mean, and all of these things too, you have got to practice. You've got to brush your teeth and floss now. That's the one I always use, that if you don't brush your teeth for 6 months, and the night before you go to the dentist, you brush your teeth for 4 hours straight, you're not going to have a good test setup. You're learning the same thing with if you practice voice, and I'm not going to go down that line either, but you're building a machine, and if you don't think your teacher can tell, melody plus harmonic accompaniment. Okay, chord it out. Not on site, perhaps, but take the time to do some, and don't worry necessarily about 6/4. It's the 5/5. Use pop cymbals. D major, fa da, da da da. But you've got to be able to grab it and play, okay? Seriously, if you like the, 5/5 going to the, with a 4/3 suspension, come on. Yeah, if you want to do that. And practice the style. Whatever that might be. Get your hearing checked. I like that for a nice slide. The more piano you play, the less you're going to be able to hear. Okay? So that's another reason why you really cannot be, as your former, I won't say colleague, but teacher or whatever had said, the more you play, the less you, especially if you're not very good here. Because your whole brain is going, okay? And they could be singing the Star-Spangled Banner, for all you know, sometimes, or not singing at all. It's amazing sometimes what can be done. But but you've got to be able to hear wrong notes, wrong rhythms, bad diction, and ugly vowels. Yeah, even on a piece like this, lack of expression markings, poor vocal technique, and that's what you had said. If you don't watch them breathe. Everybody, please breathe very poorly for me right now. Ready? Go. Okay, but that's exactly, what in the world did that happen there? It's amazing, but go to a high school or middle school group and say, everybody, please take a deep breath. What are they going to do? Intonation, etc., etc. We juggle till we drop. Saw a professional juggler act many years ago. Brothers Karamazov or something like that. They loved it. And their T-shirt says, "Juggle till we drop." Get it?
Oh my god.
That's what, because we drop till we drop. She's explaining. Hey, that's okay. But you've got to be able to play the ink and go beyond the ink. And I'm telling you that the stuff that you're doing in keyboard now, nobody's ever going to say, would you please play Spinning Song for me? No, they're not going to care. They want you to play, okay?
What?
Can you play some Radioactive for me? Can you? Can you wake in it? And you know what they're going to, well, thank God it could be last year too. God, can you guy from Frozen?
I got asked that many times.
Of course. I'm working on it. Oh my God. It's impossible to play the piano too well. Now this is mine. This is just something I wanted to go down for you. It's impossible to play the piano too well. What you must learn is that it is not the be-all and end-all, and you can't use it as that. And I wish I would have learned it more, learned that much earlier in my career. But I used it to explain, I used it to demonstrate. That's why you've got to take both a voice and a piano proficiency. And I'm not proud of the fact, but it's very true. I have failed some of the people, they have to come back sometimes twice. That's going to be stopping too soon. That piano majors, I won't pass them out of a piano proficiency because they think, oh, I can do this forever. And it's not very good. Same thing with voice people. And I'll sing Caro Mio Ben, and it kind of sucks, So, so it's reasons to be a fantastic pianist. Confidence. The confidence that you have, you are working on this, you're working on this, and they'll believe you until you sit down at the piano. And if you are over here making up out of the whole thing, you've lost their respect. Okay? You don't have to play like these wonderful pianists. You don't. But you've got to be able to get the job done. Confidence, yours and theirs. You get lots done fast. Don't use it for everything, but the behavior problems minimized. And this is the last part, just to put this in your mind. And if there's anything else that you would like to do or talk about, I'd be very happy to. But I'm thrilled that you're here for this time. How to use the piano well. Now, again, if you've gone through secondary methods, you'll understand this. Feeding them fish and giving them fishing lessons, right? and you'll get more of that too. But you've got to be able to, while you are teaching them fishing lessons about parallel, about syncopation, whatever, you've got to be able to let them sing it. You can't give a 3-week theory lecture and then start the music. So at all times you're giving them the fish at the same time you're teaching them the fishing lessons, and back and forth between sometimes more of the other one. Too much, guilty as charged, doesn't encourage independence. Too little, doesn't give them what they need for success. I am so all about people playing piano in lab school. Where are those little tykes going to hear and understand harmony? Piano, auto harp, yes. Guitar, I'm saying use it. They've got to hear harmony before they understand what harmony is and how that they sing and fits around it. It gives them what they need. Standing, ouch, yes, but get used to it. Conducting while playing. Okay, this is, and I'm just going to close this up here. If I wanted to, because that's another thing, you can't wait till the accompanist shows up the day before the concert to start conducting, right? Will they look at you? No, not at all, and you won't know what you're doing either. So how you can start to do it. So you can start to give them a little bit, you can start to wean them away from the piano, and then you just walk away from it. Okay, so because you've already started things moving with this, is a great way, and then you get away from it and become that, because as you said, Michael Brownell has, he's gone through some tendonitis.
Yep, and he has a couple fractures.
That's it,
as well.
that's it. So I'm down in Nashville, so that's who Tito was a student teacher with, right?
And subbing.
And subbing for, that's right. He's the next NISMA president. And so he's gone a whole lot. So get in, but you've got to make sure that you can do something with your hands too. Individual lines versus double, triple accompaniments, verbatim versus chording, and playing musically to infuse it in their singing. What I'd like you to simply do, just one more time. Marcy, come on and play it. She played it for me this summer. Now, she will play it differently. And that is absolutely fine. Do you have a page turner? Didn't think so.
I
Stand.
can.
Okay, now, the joy of what I get a chance to do as a conductor. I also conduct the CCE, the Campus Choral Ensemble. Okay? And my right-hand man is John Vokel. Okay? He's a good guy. He plays well, and I'm going to be, please, let this go well. I'm doing the Avery All-State here on campus.
My kids will do that.
Good! Good.
Some of mine will be there too.
Very nice, very nice. And I am asking to, but then if you want to watch, you don't have to do MFE or nothing anymore, do you? Yes. Okay? Then watch for interesting things like watch how a conductor, and then go to somebody else who's watching, but watch what they're doing with that accompanist, and how that accompanist better stay with me. And if he plays one chord before I tell him, like he is used to in CCE, but I won't do that in front of Mayor Avery Allstate, okay? So that's another thing. Accompanists, don't overstep your boundaries. I know, because I have at sometimes too, and I've pissed off my conductors, okay? Why? The hard part is when you're a conductor yourself, you think you want this, don't you? Okay? Don't do that to yourself. 1, 2, 3, 4. Put your hands out of the music. Fast strokes. She adjusted well. I hear the rhythm of life in music. I hear the rhythm of life in song. I hear the rhythm of life is beating because the rhythm of life is strong. I hear the rhythm the rhythm. Sing it. The rhythm of life. Spin it and up. Say it. La vida. Thanks for coming along tonight. Know what this can do, know what this can't do. And don't get the two mixed up, but don't underestimate what is able to do it. And it does not come by playing and learning, or I should say, I was going to say spinning song, but it sure doesn't come out by just ignoring it. It takes some good growth. Thanks for coming and thank you for having me. Kids, grab some of those snacks. I have a funny feeling they're all for you.
Eat them, I don't want them.
Eat them, I do not want them. I do need your, oye la música, please. Por favor. Dime la música.